Can you tell I didn't have an intro? But that's okay. I'm still Robo. This is still the Rewind. A few weeks back, we saw a grainy picture of the Playmates Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Remastered, where it seemed like they were vintage-style figures, but with updated paints and articulation. You know, like Mattel's doing with Masters of the Universe Origins. There's that nostalgia factor, but a modernization. Thanks to Pixeldan, we now have a high-res version of that picture, and all the updates aren't exactly great. There is more articulation. Now, it's Playmates styled. It kind of reminds me of their interpretation of the 2012 Turtles, but it's still vintage sculpts with more movement, more joints. Except the ankles. Yes, there seems to be a swivel joint there, but that's worse than having no articulation at all. Not having moving ankles kind of nullifies the knees and the hips. You can move the legs, but you're not going to be able to stand them except in certain positions. But let's address the elephant hide in the room. What the hell is with the skin texture? I don't know if it's an homage to the 1990 movie Turtles. Remember those with a similar texture to this? It kind of worked there. It doesn't really work here. I was gonna say it kinda looks like styrofoam, but there's no kinda about it. These look like styrofoam. The bases are cool until you look closer and realize that they're scaled to like mega constructs or something smaller. One thing that people bring up that doesn't really bother me is the swapping of Leonardo and Donatello's heads. For me personally, I didn't pay that close of attention back in the day, but more than that, it seems to pair up my pairs of turtles better. Now Leo and Raph have the symmetrical mouths, and Donnie and Mikey have the asymmetrical mirror image mouths, if that makes any sense. That's how I always grouped them back in the day. That's how I still group them on shelves. Mommy and Daddy would fight, and then the straight-A student kid and the party child would go off and do their own thing. Plus my brother Michael's turtle was Michelangelo, mine was Donatello. There's that too. They paired together. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I like the turtles better when the picture looked like this. Can we go back to this? Whole lot of McFarlane DC Multiverse happening this week. Between new solicitations and WonderCon reveals, there is a lot to go over, but let's start with something that's not quite, or not technically DC Multiverse. Here is the DC Direct Page Punchers McFarlane Toys Store exclusive gold label Ghosts of Krypton Sketch Edition 4-pack, which is essentially DC Multiverse in everything but name and packaging. It's got multiverse style sculpting, it's got multiverse style articulation, it's got multiverse scale. It'll fit in with all your DC Multiverse figures. You just can't call it DC Multiverse, apparently. Maybe it's DC Direct because it includes a comic, so it'll be more hand-in-hand with the publishing side? Or maybe just Page Punchers falls into a different department. Either way, we saw the regular Page Punchers Ghosts of Krypton wave go up for pre-order maybe a month ago, and they're not even out. And here we are with sketch editions going up for pre-order. That's okay, though. It's a neat effect, and it's exclusive to McFarlane's own store. It ain't hurting a soul. They're there for people who are into this kind of thing. Getting into McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse proper, let's start with the actual pre-orders that went up this week and then the WonderCon reveals. Starting with the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys Store exclusive gold label Batman of Earth 22 Infected Dark Metal Nightmare Edition. I nearly didn't make it, but that was my first try. Like I just said about the sketch editions, this is something to stretch that dollar when it comes to molds, and it gives fans of this concept something to put into their display. It's there for those who want it. Did I just say that? I'm repeating myself. That's okay. Something to throw out here since this is another Batman. At WonderCon, Todd said that he makes so many Batmans because Batman sells. Batman pays for lesser-known characters to be in waves, to be released at all. Batman is Batman. Dollar signs. Company. Needs to make money in order to make more stuff. That's how it works. So, Batmans. If you don't like Batman, there is other stuff out there. Because of Batman. You know, characters like the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse McFarlane Toy Store exclusive gold label Mr. Zaz. I know of Zaz. I can pick him out of a lineup, mostly because of the tally marks all over the body. In fact, that detail is what makes this not shirtless bad guy man. But what's with the eyes? It gives him a very animated style feel. Again, I know of Zaz. So, but I don't know his appearances in other places. Is this based on something? It's definitely not based on the trading card that comes with the figure. I'm also not used to seeing this base body and skin tone. It has a very flat feeling to it. Again, adding to that cartoony element. Maybe that's why this is gold label. The look itself. It wouldn't be that exciting. It wouldn't be enticing on store pegs next to other figures dressed in colorful spandex or extra sculpt or monster types. But hey, it's McFarlane, you just never know. Like with the new round of collector's editions. Look how much soft goods Captain Boomerang has. I will admit that the fake leather trench coat is thick and puffy, and that kind of accentuates the clothiness of the scarf. But hey, A for effort. And if you take all that off, it's a good looking Boomerang underneath with the baby blue sweater. It's a nice sculpt. Starfire also looks pretty good. Gonna be a nice addition to the Titans, or whoever else you want to display her with. It's up to you. It's your collection. Do what you want. I've just always thought that this color palette makes for a spiffy looking action figure. One thing that jumps out at me though is the stand support to help with the vanilla poses. I'm guessing she's precarious to stand because of the small heeled feet and the big head of hair. I know that's stating the obvious. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. I thought I'd point it out. Then again though, I've always had her flying. That's my mental image. She kind of floats above the group, so flight stand, good. Flying. Then to round out this assortment is Classic Penguin. I really like the look of this. It gives me updated DC Universe Classics vibes. The mood lighting shot does put the hip movement in question though, where the waist is turned in order to get one leg in front of the other. But it's the Penguin. He's gonna be awkward moving anyway. He does penguin things. And of course there's a superpowers chase. We see this in Collector's Edition, where there's gonna be a limited edition variant of the figures that come out in the main wave. Don't you know that's what makes collecting fun? I don't know if I like this better because I wasn't into superpowers as a kid, but there's a classic-y toy vintage nostalgia feel to it. So yeah, it's nice, it's neat, I like it. But the whole chase thing isn't as fun when it's a new unique character for the shelf like Blackfire. It's an obvious choice. I would have been disappointed if it wasn't done because it's really just a color palette swap. But to make it harder to get, which I get, it's Blackfire, she's not near as well known as Starfire, but it's the whole principle of the thing, you know? Hey, you want Blackfire for yourself? Too bad. You have to hunt her down. Chases should be something a little less sought after. You know, like White Lantern Captain Boomerang. Admittedly, way less exciting, but again, chase. In fact, when I first saw it, I thought, isn't that just Captain Boomerang in lighter colors? Almost Snow-like gear? But then they removed the soft goods and there was the White Lantern logo. I guess this is the only way that anybody's ever gonna get White Lantern Captain Boomerang. It's not like this was gonna be released by itself. But then you go back to the Blackfire thing and it's... This wave was actually revealed at WonderCon, but why go back to slides when we have pretty promotional pictures? We do have to refer to the panel for the rest of the reveals though, and for that, I have to rely on my good friend Toy Shiz. If you're interested in a first-hand account, since he was at the panel, something a little more in-depth, you can see his coverage here. Me, I'm just gonna look at his pictures and go, oh, look, it's a figure. I like them, and here they are. What do you think? Like Ambush Bug. I'm excited. I've never had an action figure of Ambush Bug. Seeing him smaller than the rest makes me think that this may be fudgeable into a 1/12 scale display. Or maybe the head will work on a green base body of some kind, because the head sizes on DC Multiverse tend to work on smaller scaled bodies. I also like the look of this Mr. Freeze. Now, we've had a few Mr. Freezes, but it seems like everyone is reminiscent of a certain era, a certain look. Booster Gold is Booster Gold, just not as recognizable as the Booster Gold we already have, at least to me. And then Rebirth Robin is also outside my boundaries of Robins. There's other versions that I'd much rather have, but they both look good for what they are. And yes, the slides are labeled 2025 by mistake. All of these figures are set to be released in 2024. This image is blatantly labeled chase figures, but what characters could Manhunter, New 52 Reverse Flash, and Sportsmaster be variants of? Or is this line just called chase figures? Hey, we're not even gonna release regular figures here. We're going straight to the chase. We're gonna send one to every 6 Walmarts in your state. Good luck. No, some of the chase figures have been pretty easy to find. In fact, some people get them not wanting them. but you know, I'm just gonna poke, poke, poke. If the Batman Forever wave is like the Batman and Robin wave, these should be super nice. Not sure about the Nightmare Bat, but I can't think of anything else that would have been a Build-A-Figure for this specific wave. Maybe more Riddler looks? And that's a lot of paint hits on Two-Face. They announced a tumbler, and it will include Lucius. They did confirm that this is a two-seater. I'm guessing because it's shorter in length than the 89 Batmobile, so they could widen it a bit and then put two figures side by side in it. And had to get the side-eye in there somewhere, didn't you, Todd? That's okay. Most of their movie figures have improved immensely over the years, so this looks good, even with the slight like a submarine, Mr. Wayne. The next collector edition wave will be Manga Batman, Sergeant Rock, and Superboy. Hey, those pants could have spruced up that Mr. Zaz that we looked at a minute ago. I'm back and forth on this Batman. I like it, I don't like it. It's almost the Turtles Remastered situation. I first saw smaller, blurry pictures and I thought, hey, that's kind of neat with the white and then the shadow on the forehead. That's my favorite kind of Batman. But then I get closer looks and it's not quite what I was wanting. And then I back up a bit or do the, oh, yes, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. But for me, the winner is Sergeant Rock, another character I've never had in action figure form before. Gimme, gimme. Then to finish it all off, there was another digital wave where you buy physical action figures to build a digital figure. I do look forward to seeing how this Superman, Green Arrow, and Atom turn out as prototypes, though. Then the digital figure is Animal Man, who we've already had in the really real world, so who cares? Remember last week when we talked about Bandai saying they were going to reveal something Star Wars SH Figuarty for the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace? How the possibilities were endless? Maybe it was something new and different, never seen before? Or maybe pull from the drawer full of prototypes that have been shown at shows but never went anywhere? Like this Queen Amidala? Ooh, or their Super Battle Droid, or any of the Astromechs, but no, they went with Jar Jar. You already know this. You've seen it this week, right? They put this graphic up this week saying there will be more information April 26th. That's a month away. What are you doing to me? I'm guessing they'll say the pre-orders will open around May 4th because Star Wars, and then we'll get to see all the accessories that come with it. But really, everything we need to know is right here. It has a Sirius head similar to the Hasbro version, but the other head, that's gonna sucker me into double dipping on Jar Jar. Well, triple dipping, quadruple dipping. I bought some extra Black Series versions on clearance for custom fodder. They were cheap. What do you want me to do? But the wide-eyed, tongue-sticking-out smiling face just has so much personality. Personality that I attribute to Jar Jar. It makes it look way more fun. This is the one I want to put running on the shelf or in dioramas or pictures, just, oh, Misa. And it doesn't matter that this sculpt has been around for 6 or 7 years. It seems to work, unlike the Count Dooku we got that was outdated before it was even released, because they used an old sculpt. But it's also Jar Jar. Some people still hold a grudge. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes on sale day. Is it going to sell out quick? Or is it going to linger? Is it going to hang out? Who knows? I mean, even me. Yes, I would have preferred something else. But this also does offer something that I don't currently have with the action figure I display. And sometimes that's enough. Speaking of manifesting figures, we all knew we were gonna get a Star Wars Black Series Momo Nadon. Hammerhead if you're nasty. Well, okay, Hasbro did flat out tell us in a pipeline revealed several months ago, but after getting Doc Ondar in hands and seeing what was under the soft goods, we were all just, yep, we're getting Momo Nadon. It just screamed reuse, and that's exactly what happened, but not as much as I was expecting. Of course, the sleeves and the pants and the torso with the overlay is back, because those were specifically Hammerhead, just covered up on Doc Ondar. The exposed lower legs and feet are also shared, but that's just Ithorian features that we didn't see near as much in the movie. Or at Disney. Isn't Doc Ondar behind a cage or in a booth or something? So yeah, go crazy. But I will say I like the color scheme more here with the dark wash. It makes it feel more gritty, more dirty, and that's how I like my Star Wars, gritty and dirty. I also like the lighter toe-nail claw things. Then there's also the hands reappearing, but the forearms are new. Ondar had wraps around his wrist, but Momo Nadon did not in A New Hope. So that's what they did. they resculpted new forearms. They went an extra mile, and I appreciate that. Same goes for the head. It's not obvious. In fact, when we first saw this, I thought, oh, yep, there's Doc Ondar, but no, this is an all-new sculpt. The lower part, chin bend is thinner, the eyes are closed a bit more, the neck hump doesn't have Doc's bumps, and the mouths are half shut. Things that will further distinguish the two on the shelf. And then of course there's the new midsection overlay and the neckerchief to finish off the look. He comes with 3 cups for your cantina display and then an E11. I will probably never use the E11. I guess he's been drawn that way a couple times, and I think there's a statue, but me... Thanks to Fuzzy Blue Demon on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, he reminded me that the Power of the Force Momonadon came with this oversized double blaster thing that may look even better in 1/12 scale. So to eBay I went, and I'm getting another 3 3/4 inch figure, but it's for Playdate possibilities. He's gonna hold another gun. Back to this though, Hammerhead is in a bigger box, so that means deluxe tax. Maybe because of the chunky legs and the big head? It is better than the $43 Doc Ondar price, so there is that. Now, will there be a retro-carded version in blue clothing? Maybe even resculpt the upper arms and legs to be bare? To better match the vintage figure? Ooh. Over on the Hasbro GIJoe Classified Series front, we got some pre-orders of things that we already knew about, but that means better looks, so here we are, just gazing lovingly at them. The Cobra Ferret Scout and Cobra Ferret ATV look even better in action. Who knew? We all did, but it's nice to get beautiful confirmation. And I'm not gonna lie, when we saw the digital reveal of this, which we can see right now on the back of the package, I could not get it out of my brain that that back big cannon was mounted in the middle. That does not make sense. You ride in the middle, so you'd have to be sitting on the gun. And I was rationalizing that it was off to the side, but I couldn't picture it. Now I can. Thank you. Look at that. I know that's silly as all hell, but I had to see it for it to finally unjumble. I don't know if I trust rockets that low on a four-wheeler over rough terrain though, but as we've talked about before, Cobra doesn't really care about his troops. I mean, Trouble Bubble? It's an office chair with a huge jetpack on the back and a glass dome. Sure, buddy, you'll be okay. Go get those Joes. I love the gray gear on the Scout though. We need more troopers in this color scheme. We also knew about the next round of retro card backs, but that doesn't make it any less exciting. Like with the eels, if you didn't get in on the Amazon exclusive version, here it is again. Boom. Nearly the exact same thing. Funny story, I went to Amazon to see if they were available before opening my big mouth, and they were. I was like, holy moly, and they're up for $33.99. They must have been deluxe priced originally. Wait a second, this retro release comes with all the same gear for $24.99. What's going on? And then my good buddy Prod reminded me that the original price on the Amazon exclusive was $24.99. The current listing is from a third-party seller. Hey, it's an easy mistake on my part. I sometimes forget how much bang for your buck you get out of this line. So don't go spending the extra money on Amazon right now. Wait for this, because the only difference I can really see is the hoses on the spear guns. The new one has a blue hose, the old one has a red hose. Maybe to differentiate the two. And the wetsuit may be slightly darker. That's really all I can tell from pictures. Beachhead's changes are way more obvious. Changes that I don't remember noticing when we got the digital reveal. But now that we have promotional images, we can see that it's Stalker's body, which makes it less detailed than the original Beachhead with the lines in the sweater and such, but it makes it more vintagey feeling, you know? It shares bodies with some of the other figures, and that's 80s goodness. I saved the best for last though. Have you ever heard of the greatest Cobra Trooper ever created? Hell, it's probably the best GIJoe vintage figure to ever release. Yes, I'm talking about Snow Serpent. Sure, it's a dumbed down release from the deluxe version, but that's exactly what we needed. You didn't want to pay the bigger price for more stuff and wolf pelts and, well, okay, the rocket should have probably came with this. They did change the loadout a bit, but this is a cheaper option and more available because I do believe that deluxe version is now sold out completely. And the ton of stuff that came with would not have fit in this bubble, so concessions had to be made. Now, I love the color scheme of the deluxe. I love this even more. I love this double. It just hits me somewhere in here. Takes me right back to my very small G.I. Joe collection back in the day, of Snow Serpent being one of my favorites. And then here we are. Look at that. That's what I live for in this hobby. Getting feels. Getting transported back to more innocent times. I'm not going to say better times, just different times. But they were kind of better. And I know that's not everyone's reason for collecting Joes. Some like the realism, some like the modernization, some like the nostalgia. And it feels like the Hasbro team is trying to appease most of those groups at different times. If you don't see something you like now, they're eventually going to get to something that you like. So just hold your horses. You're gonna get to it. For WonderCon reveals, there was just a name drop. Once a Man Cobra Commander. So that's gonna be interesting to see. But WonderCon also brought us a whole new wave of Marvel Legends, and I'm X-Men through and through, but I can't help yearning for new villains that we don't already have and upgrades to the big name heroes. First, the 3 Iron Mans. Did I mention that this is a retro Iron Man wave? I probably should have led off with that. That's why there's 3 Iron Mans. Let's take them in order. The Model 1 gold armor is something we knew was coming. We all guessed that the tin can armor was going to get reused in gold. And it looks glorious with its new skirt piece that fills out the silhouette. Model 9 is an upgrade of an older Marvel Legends figure that was too short to fit in with a lot of the rest of the shelf. The new parts just make it look way more proportionate and better enough to make me consider buying another Iron Man armor. Is this where we're at? I thought I was good with Iron Man armors, and they keep showing more, the different iterations, that I'm just kind of like, oh, this one fit here, 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 and here. It's very Mega Man with the boots, though, isn't it? I mean, it just gives off that look, and everyone's got Mega Man on the brain lately, so here we are. Ow, Hasbro, I see what you're doing. Model 20 is also tempting, even though it's an armor we've gotten before, but this is a total upgrade over the Toy Biz version. Remember that scrawny, skinny thing, gappy in places? This one's got presence. This one has attitude. Now, I talk a good game, but I've left the Iron Mans up to fate. I've locked the rest of the wave in already. Because Count Nefaria is a new villain. I don't have an action figure of him. Boom, he's going on the shelf. The Avengers shelf. It's tempting to put him on the X-Men shelf because this son of a bitch killed Thunderbird, but in that appearance, he was wearing a suit and a collar and cape and monocle. That's way less exciting than this supervillain costume. Whiplash has handbook cred with me, so automatic purchase. Plus, what's not to love about a dude in a black bodysuit with purple pirate boots and gloves, a cowl, a green ponytail, who decided that the best way to go after Iron Man was with a whip. That takes a huge set. He'll stand out on the shelf. The pastel color, oh man, this just looks good. But the winner, the icing of this wave, is She-Hulk. Just look at this figure. It's She-Hulk. I've gotten previous Jennifers and they're okay. This takes the cake. This is the ultimate She-Hulk. The shade of green, the musculature, the body to the hair, the smile. She-Hulk. She-Hulk. My initial impression was, yup, there's that Power Princess reuse we've all been waiting for, but no. Putting them side by side, this does not share parts. The muscles are all different and way more defined. And did I mention the colors? Oh, ooh. I understand that some wanted the purple and white costume, and that makes total sense, but do you think they're gonna do this and not make more She-Hulks? There's that, there's the Fantastic Four version, they could put soft goods on top of this, a lawyer. She-Hulk. She-Hulk. I'm here for all of them. It's just a good looking action figure, finally, of She-Hulk. And that's all I have for this week. No, YOLO Park did not post anything new. As always, special thanks to the Patreon, the stars in my night sky. This week they got us sneak peek at the next Playday, where I have finally worked out how to film something down on my desk when I'm working on something. So that's coming up. I'm gonna do some dry brushing. I'm gonna do some popping. I'm gonna do some washing. I'm gonna do a little bit of painting. Painting little things is still tricky because I have to put my face right up on it with magnifiers. So, okay, this does not make for a great camera view. You don't see any of what I'm doing. You just see
the top of my head and my hands.
But we'll see what happens. I'm still working on it. I didn't realize I didn't have an intro until today. And I was scrambling and I thought, you get a little look at the studio, the shop. I'm still working on things. Yes, a lot of bare wall and things that need to be moved around. I need to take that table back there and put it up there. Get it. Everything review-wise that way. Everything rewind here, and then storage and stuff back there. Bye.